this is legitimately one of the cringiest, disgusting things I've ever seen. I mean, a real proper abomination. So, Jordan Peterson went to occupied Palestine, and he sits down with Benjamin Netanyahu, who's basically been reelected now as Israeli prime minister, and Ben Shapiro. And they sit down and have lunch together and break bread. Here's the picture. There's Jordan Peterson on the left, Ben Shapiro in the middle, and Peterson is shaking hands with the war criminal Netanyahu. Now listen, Jordan Peterson, I already covered a video a few weeks ago with my cousin. We commented on an interview that Peterson had done with an Israeli ambassador, an Israeli diplomat. And Jordan Peterson, you know, he's a psychologist by profession. I don't know what qualifies him to talk about politics, but he is a psychologist and he's an academic. And, you know, he claims that he wants to understand what's happening in the Middle East, and he wants to understand what's happening with Palestine. The truth is, though, he never brings any Palestinians to talk about their own country and their own oppression. He only speaks with Israelis, the Israeli diplomat I just mentioned, and with Netanyahu and Shapiro, who is a Zionist. So he only gives a platform to one side, and it's, of course, the side that has all the billions of dollars, the nuclear weapons, that has the upper hand, that has, you know, the media platforming all the time. And Jordan Peterson, you know, he's been quote unquote controversial in the past because people say that, you know, he is, and he says he's against cancel culture, right? So he's so brave and he's so tough that he's just going to speak his mind and he's going to speak the truth because it's the truth, and he wants to be the best person that he can be, and he is against cancel culture and he's against political correctness. Wow. Okay. So, you know, Jordan Peterson is so brave and he's so opposed to political correctness that he went and met with Netanyahu, with the Israeli prime minister, refuses to criticize Israel, and I'm about to play this clip and it's going to make you vomit. And he idolizes the Israelis, idolizes them. That is literally the most politically correct thing that you can do. The people that actually get canceled, who have their jobs taken from them, Professor Miller fired from the University of Bristol, the people that are barred from Zoom, from Facebook, from YouTube, from even speaking, like Palestinian women who are in the resistance, they're Palestinians. Anyone who expresses support for Palestine actually gets canceled. They'll take away your job. They'll call you an anti-Semite. They will smear you. They will make up stories about you. That's actually being canceled. And so, you know, Jordan Peterson is so brave, he did what every single major media organization does. Give the microphone to Israel and don't let the Palestinians speak. Wow. You are so brave. How new, how unprecedented. That is so valorous. I mean, look at this, you know. I actually feel bad for Peterson. I was afraid that he might get a little bit of blood on his suit, you know, being that close to Netanyahu. So let me play you this clip of Peterson speaking to a crowd of Israelis. And just listen to this drivel. It's going to make you puke.
As Jews in Israel, are you telling the greatest story ever told? Well, you decide that by how you live. And that decision will affect the world, because everyone looks here for one reason or another. It's not so easy to understand. Everyone looks here to see, well, how are you actually doing under this tremendous assault of adversarial criticism as this little tiny people in the middle of no man's land, in some real sense, as a, what would you say, cardinal model of the nation state and the city on the hill. You have a tremendous moral responsibility, like you have perhaps for your entire history, for reasons that are very difficult to understand. And I think it is true in some real sense that the fate of the world depends on the decisions of the people of Israel, just as the fate of the world depends on the decision of every individual. So you make yourself a shining light on the hill, right? You attract people here because of what you're capable of doing. You show the world what the holy city could look like, because we need it. We need it, and it's up to you to do it. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow, what a performance. Well done. Well done, what a performance. You know, there's nothing braver than going to an apartheid and groveling on the floor before the settlers and kissing their butts. How brave of you, Mr. Peterson. You are so intellectual and such an academic. Just wow. Wow. I'm flabbergasted. You have taken my breath away. Such bravery. Such bravery. And he's basically saying that the Israelis are, first of all, I think this is really funny because he confuses Israelis with Jews. I know this is difficult for someone like Mr. Peterson to digest, but Israelis are settlers from outside of the Middle East. Do you understand? Not all Jews are Israelis. How can Israel be 74 years old and the people from Israel are thousands of years old? What kind of math is that? What kind of math is that? Why do you give the entire religion to Israel? That's like saying, ISIS is the sole or representation of Islam, or the Vatican is like the purest. The fate of the Christian world depends on it. What is this nonsense? How insulting! How insulting! This guy is literally trespassing. He is walking on stolen land without permission from the people there, and he's wandering around with his chest puffed out and so pompous, and then shedding a tear. Man, you want to cry? You should cry for the Palestinians. If there's anyone to cry for, it's the Palestinians. The Palestinians are the ones that are killed every day, that are arrested every day, that have no state. They are stateless. The Palestinians are the ones who've had their homes taken from them, their land taken from them, that are marginalized, that have no representation in the media, that have no representation in politics. You want to cry? Go ahead and cry, man. But do it for the actual people who deserve your sympathy and compassion. And I want to show you this clip where, he was basically walking at Al-Aqsa Mosque. Okay, so Al-Aqsa Mosque is one of the holiest sites in Islam. Okay. And in English, sometimes people call it Temple Mount. And he's walking on the site, okay, in the courtyard of the mosque, surrounded by a camera crew with Ben Shapiro. Let me just show you the clip, okay? So this is during his trip. Oh my God, look at them. They're so brave and intellectual. Just like they're completely immersed and absorbed in this stimulating conversation of great minds coming together, fusing in the holy city. Look, man, people called him out for this because the Israelis regularly come in to Al-Aqsa Mosque and clear out the place. If Jewish settlers, Israelis, want to walk there, the military and the security forces come with them and forbid Palestinians from coming anywhere near them. I mean, this is like, imagine like some king coming through and saying, "Oh, yeah, get all these peasants out the bloody way. Yes, clear the area. His Majesty's coming." That's how they treat the Palestinians. All the time, everywhere. This is not even just with Al-Aqsa Mosque. In Hebron, you have a few hundred settlers compared to tens of thousands of Palestinians. And just to protect those few settlers, you have the army there. And again, it's apartheid and segregation. It's disgusting. Like they literally have roads where only Jewish settlers can drive down or walk on. Can you believe this stuff? This is real. This is Israel. So, he's coming there and walking on one of the holiest sites in Islam. And of course, it's also important for the Jews. Like, let's not forget that, right? But he got called out for it because the Palestinians are told when they can pray, when they can't pray. And you saw the videos, the Israelis, they went in and fired tear gas. This year, if you go on Google and look up Israelis storming Al-Aqsa Mosque, they do this regularly, right? You'll have Jewish settlers who go through there doing provocative dances and marches on purpose because they know the military will come with them to protect them and clear out all the Palestinians, right? So just pure, straight up segregation. And then he starts going on this like, he makes this ridiculous video on YouTube trying to explain himself. I swear to God, I have never seen so much drivel compressed and into one compact video. It's astonishing. This guy thinks that if he just jumbles, lots of big words together and speaks in high register, that he'll appear as some kind of intellectual boy, yes? He's a great man, a very smart man, yes? Just listen to this. Seriously, listen.
In Jerusalem on Tuesday, October 11th, I journeyed with a Daily Wire Plus film crew, including Ben Shapiro, to Temple Mount, or El Haram El Sharif El Aqsa Mosque. The entire project had been cleared with the requisite authorities, so there was simply no, quote,
the requisite authorities. You mean the occupying power. The Israelis are illegally occupying Jerusalem since 1967. That's not me saying that. That's the United Nations Security Council, even the United States. The requisite authorities. That's like saying, that's like somebody coming into Jordan Peterson's house and taking all of his shit and kicking him and his family outside the house. And then, I go inside his house and say, hey, why are you mad at me, man? They gave me permission. So I had permission from the requisite authorities. This is his logic. He thinks that, he absolves himself of any wrongdoing because he's saying, well, I got permission to do it. Yeah, you got permission from the invaders.
Storming of the site. Quite the contrary. And there was nothing at all particularly political about our activities.
Okay, look, man. No. The fact that you just said that there's nothing political about this shows that you have no clue about politics. Don't go there then. It's okay not to know, but don't use your platform to only give the microphone to Israelis and then nothing for the Palestinians. They don't get a say. And then you go and storm the site that is stormed every week by Jewish settlers, by Israelis, on purpose to provoke Palestinians. And there's nothing political about it. What? How? Look, man, this guy's either extraordinarily ignorant or he's a liar. And either way, he should not be talking about these issues. If they're too complex for your brain, they're really not complex. Don't talk about them.
We traveled there as part of the completion of an upcoming documentary about the Holy City, which is, in turn, part of a planned series on the sources of Western civilization. When we arrived, a rabbi who had been agitating...
What? The sources of Western civilization? What is this? What? Palestine is in the West now? Man, this is really funny. This is, and he's going to say it in a moment, but they just appropriate whatever they want and make up excuses. It's extraordinary, I think, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Canada, and I'm just going to walk into Jordan Peterson's house, and I'm going to film a documentary and say, look, man, I'm filming something about the sources of, whatever. And that's just going to make it okay, and you have to accept it.
For the right of Jews to pray on that site, something currently forbidden by the very authorities who arranged our right to walk and film there, made his presence known nearby. He and his followers were not part of our group and were not given permission to undertake their activities under our auspices.
Guess what? Neither were the Palestinians. God, man, what is this? That's like saying, man, I went to this country, illegally, and I just went in there and brought all my friends, and we took weapons, and I tried praying in this church, but they just wouldn't let me in. I'm so oppressed. Oh no.
Were their activities in any manner part of what was authorized by those who granted us permission to be at El Aqsa, to walk and to talk and to film? Furthermore, none of the people with me engaged in any activities that were outside the purview of what had been formally granted permission, with the possible exception of what I will outline later.
Jesus Christ.
All those...
You know what this is? This is politician speak. This is Jordan Peterson unable to negotiate the criticism that he's been faced with. So he starts jumbling massive words together, thinking it makes him look intelligent because he uses high register. No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. It actually achieves the opposite effect. You look like you're trying to avoid the subject, like you're bullshitting people, and you know you've been called out and caught, and you're a liar. And please just watch. It gets worse.
Those who are claiming that my compatriots, the Daily Wire film crew, and I were violating the rules that obtain on the Al-Aqsa site in the manner they are currently claiming,
what?
That I stormed the grounds with recalcitrant Israeli settlers, are either ignorant of the facts, in which case...
This guy thinks that because he got a piece of paper from the Israeli occupiers that this is permission. No, it's not. They don't have jurisdiction there. Do you speak English, motherfucker? The Israelis are in Jerusalem illegally. They cannot give you permission. It's not their jurisdiction. It's not me saying that. The UN says that. How can you be an academic and a psychologist and you're so goddamn dumb? This guy's a clinical psychologist by profession, right? He has such a big galaxy-sized brain, and he can't understand the simple fact that these guys are invaders. They're not allowed to be there. They cannot give you permission because the land does not belong to them. You stormed it. I literally just played the video. What do you mean you didn't storm it? It's on tape. You're on tape. You're saying we filmed the documentary there. You filmed it yourself. And they say, oh no, I wasn't there. Wow, man, this guy must be doing like quantum physics level of, teleportation.
They should cease saying what they do.
He is both not at Al-Aqsa Mosque and is at Al-Aqsa Mosque filming a documentary at the same time.
Do not know to be true, or purposefully misrepresenting what occurred and stirring up unnecessary and unwarranted trouble in a hostile and adversarial manner. When discussing matters deemed to be holy, and when levying accusations of transgression,
here it comes, man.
I would ask, who is willing to cast the first stone?
This is what I love about, Christian Zionists and Israelis. They think that by quoting the Bible, it gives them the right to oppress, to occupy, to kill, and to just grab any piece of land they want in Palestine. And, he's quoting the Bible verse like, basically, whoever is not sinful, whoever has not committed any sin, let them cast the first stone, okay? And it basically means don't be a hypocrite, okay? Don't criticize someone for doing something if you yourself are imperfect as well. And they conveniently, every time they quote the Bible, they can conveniently forget the 10 Commandments. The first one says, thou shalt not kill, okay? They forget all of the things that Jesus said about being kind. And he goes on in the video, I'm saying this because he goes on in the video, to say that, well, maybe I did storm it. And I did it because I was praying. And, I was praying to the same God that the Christians have, the Jews have, and the Muslims have. Okay, that's great. That's true. It's the same God. It's one God. That doesn't change what you did. I don't understand how these things are related. You can't just like randomly quote Bible verses and try to change the political nature of what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You didn't just go to the mosque. This is not the main issue. You're meeting with Netanyahu. He's the prime minister. How is that not political? He's literally the head of the executive. What? I mean, I'm going nuts. This guy is impossible. He's irredeemable.
So, no, I did not storm Al-Aqsa in the manner conveyed by the self-righteous purveyors of serpentine rumor and innuendo. And yes, I did storm Al-Aqsa in that I prayed assiduously to the...
It's okay to go into other people's countries as long as you pray when you do it. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. I understand your message now. Well done. You care to explain the Netanyahu thing, or, you're just going to avoid that? This was the cringiest one, though. This thing where he's on stage and he's saying like, oh, the fate of the world depends on you. Why? Says who? What does that mean? Why are you groveling in front of them? He talks about, the holy city, and then he starts crying. Like, once again, you want to talk about religion and holiness. All of these religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, tell you not to behave the way the Israelis are behaving. So if you are really what you say you're about, you would not support the Israelis. End of story. And you don't even have to be religious. There are plenty of people who are not religious, who are perfectly capable of seeing the dynamic that you have an oppressor and the oppressed. You have a colonizer and the colonized. You're not wiggling out of this. I'm sorry. The moment you decided to sit down with that war criminal, and it's not just about that, right? Like if you sit down with him and actually you speak some sense, fine. But this guy's like, he's legitimizing them. He's breaking bread with them. Like that's the phrase they use, right? They're having dinner. And then he's going and doing this performance on stage. And then he's going and interviewing this Israeli ambassador. And he even said something so ignorant. And this is in the video that I commented about with my cousin. Peterson is speaking to the Israeli ambassador, and he says, you know what? Maybe this comes from jealousy. Like the reason that all these like Arabs are jealous, all these Arabs are angry at Israel is because they're jealous of Israel. Israel is so smart and so successful and so advanced and so chosen and so like holy that these sand people are just jealous of you, bro. No, you're not doing this, okay? That European anti-Semitism shit is European. That's in Europe. We don't have this problem in the Middle East. Okay, Mr. Psychologist, Mr. Smartass. It's true. In Europe, you had a lot of anti-Semitism against Jews because Jews are successful. They were killing it in multiple fields, right? In arts, in sciences, everything. And you had people who were jealous of them, and they were anti-Semites. That's in Europe. That's not in Palestine. Where do you think Jews come from? Where do you think all these religions come from? They come from Palestine. So obviously, that doesn't make any sense. He's saying that this is a holy city, and yet the people from this city hate the Jews. What does that even mean? There is no anti-Semitism problem in the Middle East. That's a European thing. That's an American thing. It's not. The people of the Middle East are Semites themselves. So I can't believe he said something so ignorant. Even the Israeli ambassador, the fucking Israeli ambassador did not say this. Like, imagine the level to which he's so desperate to grovel and kiss the Israelis' ass that he's making obscene, grotesque arguments for him. And then he says, oh, I'm trying to understand the intricacies and the complexities of the Middle East and the dynamic, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I can also speak in high register, mate. Doesn't make you look smart, makes you look like a prick. And history, I don't even need to wait for history, man. People right now can see that this guy's a fraud. He claims he's against political correctness. He does literally the most political correct thing, which is to shut up about Israel and not criticize them, right? That's the safest thing you can do. And then he claims he's against cancel culture, and he goes and cancels Palestinians. He gives a platform and a mic to the Israelis and doesn't let the Palestinians speak about their own country. And then he goes and desecrates a holy site. Okay, well, you can say we shouldn't go that far. He didn't exactly, shoot tear gas grenades inside the mosque like the Israelis do. Fine, okay. But you are in Palestine, yes? That country is under occupation. That city, Jerusalem, is under occupation. So you did not go there legally or with anyone's permission. That's a fucking lie. Morally, ethically, legally, and in all rationality. It's a lie. It's just not true. So I really, if this guy would just come out and say, I'm a Zionist, maybe I would respect him a little bit, although not really, just for giving it to us straight. But instead of giving it to us straight, he tries to wiggle, beat around the bush and claim that, oh no, I'm just an academic. I'm trying to understand both sides, except I only speak to one side. And I was just there because I was praying. I'm trying to be the best person possible. I'm so moral. I'm so I'm so holy. And you guys just don't get it. You see what he said at the end, like the serpentine. He called people that are criticizing him snakes. Jesus Christ. Speaking of Jesus Christ, did he tell you to do that and speak like that and behave like that? I'm pretty sure he didn't, right, Mr. Christian man? This is again what bothers me. You have you have institutions and people in the West who appropriated things like Christianity, like the church, and they completely transform it away from what it was originally, and then they it's like the Crusaders. What did they do? They came to the Holy Land, right? Claiming that they're so righteous and everything. They have to liberate it. And you know what they did when they got to Jerusalem? They massacred everybody, including the Christians. How Christian, right? So I'm not saying Jordan Peterson is a crusader in that sense, but he's certainly a hypocrite, and he has no clue what he's talking about. And everything he's doing is complete opposite of Christianity, if he claims to be a Christian like he does. There's nothing moral or academic about his behavior whatsoever. If he really wanted to be brave, he really wanted to be smart, he really wanted to be challenging, he really wanted to be an academic, he would explore the unexplored side. He would give a microphone, he would give the podium to the people that don't have the podium, that are never allowed to come and express their views, that are silenced and marginalized. The Palestinians, the Arabs. You're not special, man. Everybody lets the Israelis broadcast their viewpoint. You know, it's easy to do that. American politicians do it for Israel. They give Israel all this money. That's not tough. They do it in Canada. They do it in the US. That's not brave. That's not controversial. That's not new. You're no different. You're no different from these legacy media, right? You're no different from all these cancel culture, political correctness stuff you claim to be against. You're no different. You're the same.